The gentle strength of letting go. The past lingers. In memories, in objects, in echoes of voices that once filled a room. You carry moments with you. Some bring warmth, others bring weight. But one truth remains: nothing lasts forever. The Stoics understood this. They did not see change as loss, but as the natural rhythm of life. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, accepted that everything he held would one day slip from his grasp: power, friendships, even his own existence. And yet, he did not despair, because letting go is not giving up. It is not forgetting. It is choosing peace over attachment, understanding that nothing was truly ours to keep in the first place. Seneca reminds us, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears, but tears alone do not heal. Acceptance does." So today, let us step into the wisdom of the Stoics, not to erase what once was, but to learn how to release it without fear. And in that release, find the freedom to move forward, not empty-handed, but with a heart full of what still remains: love, gratitude, strength, and the quiet peace that comes when you finally let go. Because you are ready, more than you think. The weight of holding on. You sit in a quiet room, turning an old photograph over in your hands. The edges are worn, the colors faded, but the memory remains sharp, pressing against your heart like something you cannot quite let go. Letting go is not easy. It feels like closing a book before you've finished reading, like saying goodbye without knowing if there will ever be another hello. You hold on, not because you do not understand change, but because some things feel too precious to leave behind. Marcus Aurelius understood this feeling. He lost friends. He lost time. He lost pieces of his own life to the slow, inevitable passing of seasons, and yet he did not fight against time. He embraced it. The Stoic way of letting go. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean erasing the past or pretending it never mattered. It means accepting that everything, every love, every laughter, every bond is borrowed. And eventually, everything must be returned. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." What if you lived like this? Not with fear, but with clarity. Not clinging to the past, but honoring it while stepping forward. The Stoics believe that peace is found not in holding on, but in knowing when to release. And that is what this letter is about. A letter for those who hold on. This letter is for you, the one carrying memories too heavy to set down, the one mourning a chapter that has closed, the one wondering how to keep moving forward when the past still whispers behind you, because the time has come not to forget, but to allow yourself to live again. Letting go does not mean losing love. It means allowing it to become part of you, rather than something that weighs you down. So read carefully, because somewhere in these words you may find the peace you have been searching for, and the strength to finally let go, with grace, with wisdom, with love, and without fear. Core philosophy, what the Stoics teach about letting go. You have carried this weight for a long time. The memories, the longing, the quiet sadness that lingers like an echo. Some days, it is gentle, a thought that flickers and fades. Other days, it is heavy, pressing into your chest, making it hard to move forward. But Marcus Aurelius understood something that many struggle to accept. The past is not yours to control, and the future is never promised. The Stoics taught that holding on to something, be it a person, a dream, or a moment, does not keep it alive. It only keeps you tethered to something that no longer exists as it once did. Letting go is not the absence of love. To release something does not mean you loved it any less. It does not mean it was unimportant. It means you recognize that all things change, and refusing to accept this truth only deepens suffering. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." How much time have you spent looking back? How many days have been lost to wishing things had been different? The Stoics do not ask you to erase your past, nor to deny your emotions. They ask only that you live fully in the present, instead of being trapped in yesterday. Nothing belongs to you, not even time. Marcus Aurelius lived his life knowing that everything he had, his throne, his friendships, his existence itself, was borrowed, that it could be taken at any moment. And when loss came, he did not resist it, he accepted it. The same is true for you. Every person you love, every experience you cherish, is temporary. It does not mean they have no value. It means their value exists in the moments you shared, not in clinging to their memory with sorrow. Letting go is a form of gratitude. It is saying, "I am thankful for this, and because I am thankful, I will not ruin it by wishing it had lasted forever." Loss will come, but it must not rule you. There will be grief. There will be days when absence feels unbearable. But life continues, whether you choose to walk with it or remain behind. The Stoics teach not to be indifferent, but to be balanced, to feel but not be consumed, to remember but not remain trapped. You are still here. There is still life in front of you. And the past, no matter how beautiful, was never meant to be your home. It was meant to be a lesson, a gift, a part of your journey, never the destination. The path forward. What would happen if you stopped resisting? What if, instead of pulling the past forward with you, you set it down gently, honored it, and stepped forward with lightness? Marcus Aurelius reminds you, don't waste time worrying. If it's in your control, change it. If it's not, let it go. And perhaps now it is time to let go, not with pain, but with love. Because love remains, even when everything else fades. And maybe that is enough. More than enough. Enough to live, enough to continue, enough to be free. Lesson 1. Nothing belongs to us. Not even time. What you think is yours never truly is. You tell yourself that time is yours, that the people you love belong to you, that the life you have built will remain steady, unchanged. But deep down you know the truth. Nothing is truly yours to keep. The Stoics understood this long before you ever felt the weight of loss. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he accepted that none of it truly belonged to him, not his throne, not his people, not even the years of his life. He knew that time was borrowed, that everything he held would eventually slip from his grasp. And yet he did not fight against this truth. He welcomed it. Because resisting reality does not change it, it only deepens suffering. You never own time, you only borrow it. Seneca warned, "You act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire." You move through life believing that there will always be more time. You postpone love, you delay your passions, you wait for a perfect moment that may never come. But time is indifferent to your plans. It moves forward whether you are ready or not. If you wish to live fully, you must stop waiting. Stop assuming there will be another year, another opportunity, another chance to say what needs to be said, because nothing in this world is truly yours except this moment. Letting go is not losing, it is accepting. You struggle to let go because you believe that holding on keeps things alive. That if you keep remembering, if you keep longing, if you keep grasping at the past, it will somehow remain. But the Stoics teach otherwise. Letting go is not erasing. It is not forgetting. It is choosing peace over attachment, releasing the weight of what can no longer be changed. Marcus Aurelius reminds you, don't waste time worrying. If it's in your control, change it. If it's not, let it go. You cannot control the passage of time. You cannot prevent change. But you can choose how you experience it. You can decide to live fully in the present, rather than clinging to what is already gone. The freedom that comes with acceptance. Imagine if you stopped resisting. If, instead of fighting against impermanence, you embraced it. If, instead of fearing loss, you understood that everything, every love, every laughter, every quiet sunset, is precious because it will one day fade. Seneca taught, begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Because in the end, nothing was ever truly yours. Not your possessions, not your relationships, not even time itself. All you ever had, all you ever needed, was the ability to experience this moment fully, deeply, without fear. And now you have that choice. You always did. You just needed to see it. And now maybe you do. Maybe, finally, you are ready to let go, not with sorrow, but with peace, not with regret, but with gratitude. And that, more than anything, is what makes life beautiful, because it was never yours to keep, it was only yours to live. Lesson 2, grief is real, but it must not control you. The weight of absence. You never expect grief to arrive the way it does. It doesn't knock, it doesn't announce itself. It simply settles into your chest, into the quiet spaces of your mind, into the moments where you once felt whole. It changes the shape of things, making familiar places feel unfamiliar, turning simple memories into something heavy. You try to push it away, to busy yourself, to act as if life can continue untouched. But grief is persistent. It stays. And the more you resist it, the deeper it roots itself inside you. Marcus Aurelius faced loss, not just of friends, but of time, of moments he wished could have lasted longer, and yet he did not allow sorrow to rule him. He understood that grief must be felt, but never allowed to take control. Grief is a part of love, but it cannot replace it. Seneca wrote, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." Grief often feels like proof of love. You hold on to sadness because it feels like holding on to the person, the moment, the life you once had. But love is not in the pain. It is in the memories, the lessons, the way you carry them forward into the life you still have. To live in grief is to live in the past. To carry love forward is to continue living, allowing yourself to step forward without losing what mattered. Pain is real, but suffering is a choice. The Stoics did not deny emotion. They did not pretend grief did not exist, but they understood one powerful truth. Suffering is not caused by events. It is caused by your judgment of them. Loss happened, change arrived, time moved forward, indifferent to wishes. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can cling to grief, feeding it with regret and longing, or you can accept what has passed, knowing that everything in life, love, joy, sorrow, is fleeting. Marcus Aurelius reminds you, you shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all. The world will not stop moving because you are hurting. It does not pause for sadness, but neither does it erase love. Your life still belongs to you. What will you do with the days that remain? Will you let grief shape them? Will you allow sorrow to dictate how you move, how you love, how you exist? Or will you choose deliberately, bravely, to carry love forward without letting sadness define you? You cannot change the past, but you can decide how much of your future will be spent mourning it. Grief will visit. Let it stay for a while, but do not let it make a home inside you. Because you are still here, and that means something more than you realize. Lesson 3. The past is a chapter, not a place to live. The weight of yesterday. There are moments you replay over and over, conversations you wish had gone differently, roads you wish you had taken, faces you long to see again. You tell yourself that holding on keeps them close, that keeping the past alive in your mind somehow protects it from fading. But no matter how tightly you grip those memories, they remain just that, memories, echoes of something that no longer exists in the present. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He lived in a world of shifting alliances, of victories won and losses endured, of time moving forward whether he was ready or not. And through it all, he reminded himself, forget everything else. Keep hold of this alone, that you must do what your nature demands. Do it now. The past is a chapter. It is meant to be read, understood, appreciated, but never lived in. Why you must stop revisiting what has already passed. Seneca warned, while we wait for life, life passes. How often have you let the weight of yesterday steal from today? How many hours have you spent lingering on something that no longer has the power to change? There is nothing wrong with remembering. There is nothing wrong with honoring the past. But if you keep looking backward, you will never see what is ahead. The world will keep moving. Your life will keep unfolding. You can either walk forward or remain stuck in stories that no longer serve you. Closure is a choice, not something you wait for. People often say they need closure, that they need one final conversation, one final explanation, one last chance to make sense of something. But the truth is, closure is not given. It is decided. You do not need permission to move on. You do not need someone else to grant you peace. You need only to tell yourself, this chapter is complete. I am allowed to step forward. Marcus Aurelius reminds you, how ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything that happens in life. Life unfolds as it will, not as you wish. The past happened as it did. There is no changing it now. All you can do is decide how much of your future will be wasted, waiting for answers that may never come. How to stop living in the past. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Each time the past rises in your mind, pause. Ask yourself, does this help me or does it keep me stuck? Redirect your energy into something present. Instead of reliving old moments, create new ones. Reach out to someone today. Do something that brings joy now. Prove to yourself that the present holds just as much meaning as what came before. Write down what you need to release, then let it go. Put your thoughts into words. Then, instead of keeping them, release them through fire, through water, through whatever makes the act feel real to you. Your life is happening now. The past is gone. It is not waiting for you. It will never reopen itself, never rewrite its pages, but the present, it is right here, waiting for you to finally live it. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stop arguing with yesterday. Stop asking it to change. Be here, be present, be alive. And let the past remain where it belongs, behind you, because today is calling, and you must answer. Now, fully, without hesitation. Before it, too, becomes another chapter you wish you had lived, a story that embodies the lesson the letters left behind. She kept a box by her bedside, a simple wooden chest worn at the edges, filled with letters written by hands that were now gone. Some pages were yellowed, folded carefully, carrying the ink of a time she could never return to. Every morning, before the day stretched into routine, she would take out a letter, hold it for a moment, run her fingers over the words, hear the voices in her mind as if they had never left. She told herself that this was love. That remembering meant keeping them close, but each time she read, a quiet ache settled into her chest. She did not cry, not anymore. The grief had softened over the years, but it had not left. It lingered, woven into the fabric of who she was. And though the world outside moved forward, she remained here, tied to pages, tied to memories, tied to a life that no longer existed. The moment she chose to let go, one evening she sat by the window, holding a letter that had always felt the heaviest. It was from her grandmother, written in elegant cursive, filled with words of encouragement, of warmth, of reminders that life was meant to be lived fully. She traced the last line, one she had read hundreds of times before. Do not let the past keep you from the joys still waiting for you. She closed her eyes. For the first time she wondered, not about what had been, but about what she had been missing. How many days had she spent looking backward? How many sunsets had passed unnoticed while she buried herself in yesterday? That night, she did something different. She did not read another letter. She did not let the past pull her into its quiet embrace. Instead, she stepped outside. She looked up at the stars, feeling the cool air on her skin, and realized something that had always been true. The love was still there, even without the letters. Even without the aching, even without the weight. She smiled. For the first time in years, she felt light. What this means for you. You carry memories, stories, moments that shaped you. You believe that holding on to them tightly will keep them alive. That if you let go, you lose something essential. But Marcus Aurelius reminds you, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Love does not disappear when you stop clinging to it. The past will always be part of you, but it is not where you are meant to live. Tonight, close the box. Set down the letter and step forward, because life is still waiting for you. And it has been all along. Practical takeaways. How to let go with Stoic wisdom, the moment of realization. You have spent years holding on to memories, to people, to parts of yourself that no longer fit the person you are becoming. The past feels safe, familiar, like something you can return to whenever the present feels uncertain. But Marcus Aurelius reminds you, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. There is no return, no way to go back and change the things that have already unfolded. You can only choose what you do with the time that remains. Letting go is not an abandonment of love. It is not pretending things did not matter. It is learning to carry your past lightly without letting it weigh you down. It is time to release the things that keep you stuck, the thoughts that drain your energy, the regrets that hold you back. Because peace is only found in acceptance, and acceptance requires action. Here are 3 powerful ways to apply Stoic wisdom and begin the process of letting go. Journaling to release the past, put it into words, then set it free. You carry thoughts that have never been spoken, emotions that have sat in silence for too long. The first step toward letting go is acknowledging what lingers inside you. Each evening, sit down with a blank page. Write about what keeps returning to your mind. What part of the past is weighing you down? Why does it still hold power over you? Then write this. This experience shaped me, but I do not need it to be happy. I am free to move forward. Let your own words remind you that the past is not your prison. It is only a lesson. Living for today instead of yesterday. Shift your focus from memory to action. The past feels comfortable because it is known. The future, uncertain, but nothing is more real than the present. And yet, how often do you ignore it? Every time your thoughts pull you backward, redirect them toward action. If your mind lingers on lost time, create something new today. If grief feels heavy, step outside and remind yourself. Life continues. If regret visits, do something right now that aligns with the person you wish to be. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Live today, not in memory, not in longing, but in presence." Accepting loss as part of love. Letting go does not mean forgetting. You hesitate to release the past because you fear losing what once mattered. But the truth is, nothing meaningful ever truly leaves you. Love remains. Lessons remain. The people who shaped you are forever part of who you have become. Marcus Aurelius teaches, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Let go, not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Let your love live without needing attachment to keep it alive. Because freedom is found not in grasping tightly, but in trusting that what matters never fades. Your time is now. You have waited long enough. To move on, to step forward, to release what no longer serves you. Let today be different. Write, act, accept, and in that acceptance, finally find peace. Because it has been waiting for you all along. And now it is time. Journaling to release the past. The thoughts you have never spoken. There are things you carry that have never been put into words. Moments that still linger in your mind. Conversations you replay, wondering if there was something left unsaid. Regrets, hopes, memories. They sit within you, unresolved, waiting. But Marcus Aurelius knew the power of journaling. Each night he wrote, not to record history, not to impress anyone, but to confront his own mind, to make sense of his fears, his doubts, his frustrations. He understood that when we leave things unspoken, they do not disappear. They shape us quietly in ways we do not always recognize. Journaling is not about writing perfectly. It is about letting go, about seeing your thoughts clearly for the first time. And now, it is your turn. Why writing heals? Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many times have you felt trapped by thoughts that were never confronted? How often do emotions feel heavier simply because they sit unexamined, unchallenged? Writing forces clarity. It takes the thoughts that swirl inside you and puts them in front of you, where you can finally see them for what they are. Not as overwhelming forces, but as passing clouds. Grief, regret, longing, they shrink when given shape. They lose their power when placed into words. How to begin tonight? Sit in silence. Open the page. Write down what still weighs on you. What memory do you keep returning to? What words have never been said? Then ask yourself, Why does this still hold power over me? What part of this am I resisting? If I let this go, what would change? Be honest. Do not write for beauty, write for truth, the sentence that changes everything. There will come a moment when you must release what is written. At the end of each entry, write this: I do not need this to be happy. I am free to move forward. Repeat it. Let it sink in. Because the truth is, you are free. You have always been. You simply needed to see it in front of you. What happens next? Something shifts when you write regularly. You begin to recognize patterns in your thinking. You catch yourself before reacting impulsively. You see clearly what serves you and what does not. Marcus Aurelius mastered his mind through this practice. And now you have the same tool. So write, not to hold on, but to let go. Not to suffer, but to understand. Not to relive the past, but to finally step forward, because that is where your life is waiting. Not behind you, but ahead. And now, you are ready. More than you think. Living for today instead of yesterday. The cost of looking back. You don't notice it at first. How much of your life is spent in the past? The way your mind drifts to old conversations, replaying them as if they could somehow change. The way nostalgia feels like comfort yet keeps you standing still. The quiet ache of longing for something that has already passed, believing deep down that if you hold on to it long enough, it might return, but it won't. And the more time you spend looking back, the more life slips past unnoticed. Seneca warned, "While we wait for life, life passes." You have waited long enough. The past is a story, not a home. There are chapters in your life that will always matter. Lessons learned, love given, experiences that shaped you. But just because a chapter is meaningful does not mean you are meant to stay in it forever. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He ruled Rome, faced betrayal, endured hardship. But instead of mourning the moments that had passed, he trained his mind to focus only on what was in his control, the present moment, because yesterday is untouchable. No amount of thinking, longing, or regretting will change what has already been written. But today is still yours. What happens when you start living fully in the present? You begin to notice things, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the way laughter feels lighter, the way small joys that were once ignored suddenly become vivid. You make decisions based on who you are today, not who you were years ago. You stop clinging to outdated versions of yourself, people who have drifted away, dreams that are no longer meant to be yours. And most importantly, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for closure, for the past to make sense, for permission to move forward. You recognize that your time is now, and there is nothing left to hold you back except the belief that you are still tied to what has already passed. How to shift from memory to action. Catch yourself when you start replaying the past. When you notice old memories pulling you backward, stop. Ask, is this thought helping me or keeping me stuck? Do something meaningful today that honors the present. Write something. Move your body. Have a conversation that brings warmth. Choose one thing that reminds you life is still unfolding right now. Tell yourself, I am here. Say it when doubt creeps in, when nostalgia tempts you, when the past feels louder than the present. Ground yourself in the truth. This moment is where your life is actually happening. The path forward. You do not need to erase the past to move forward. You only need to stop living inside it. Seneca's wisdom rings clear. Begin at once to live. So begin, not in yesterday, not in longing. Begin here, begin now. because life will not wait, and neither should you. Accepting loss is part of love, the fear of letting go. Love is meant to last, at least that's what you've told yourself. You carry pieces of people, places, memories, because to let them go feels like betrayal, like erasing something that once mattered deeply. But the Stoics offer a different way of seeing loss. They do not ask you to forget. They do not ask you to detach without feeling. They ask only that you accept that love and loss are intertwined, that impermanence is the nature of everything we cherish. Loss does not mean love has ended. Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life?" The whole of it calls for tears. You mourn because you loved. You feel grief because something mattered to you. But the presence of pain does not mean the absence of love. Love does not vanish when someone leaves. It does not disappear when circumstances change. Love transforms. It moves from something physical to something internal, from a shared experience to a quiet memory carried forward. To let go of sorrow is not to let go of love. It is to allow love to exist without needing pain to keep it alive. What if loss is not the enemy? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. What if you stopped seeing loss as something to fight? What if instead of resisting, you accepted it with open hands, recognizing that every moment, every person, every love was never yours to keep. It was only yours to experience. The sunset does not last forever, yet you do not grieve when night falls. You simply accept that it was beautiful while it lasted. Love, too, is like this. How to let go without losing what matters. Honor love without holding on to pain. Let the memories remain, but release the suffering attached to them. Choose gratitude for what was, instead of sorrow for what is gone. Carry love forward in how you live. Let it shape you, guide you, soften you. Let it remind you to cherish the present instead of longing for the past. Trust that nothing truly leaves you. The people you love, the moments that changed you, they are part of you. You do not need grief to keep them close. They are already within you. A life beyond loss. You are allowed to love what is past without letting it define you. You are allowed to step forward without guilt. You are allowed to release the sadness and keep only the love. Because life is still waiting, and you are meant to live, not in memory, not in longing, but fully, bravely, with love that moves forward rather than pulling you backward. Tonight, close your eyes. Breathe. Say this: I loved and I lost, and both have made me who I am. I carry love forward, without sorrow, without fear. Only gratitude remains. And then, let yourself live, because that is what love truly asks of you. To continue, to grow, to be free. And now, you can. Now you will, because you are ready. More than you think. A thought-provoking ending. The choice before you. The moment of decision. You have spent so much time thinking about the past. What was, what could have been, what you wish had lasted longer. But there comes a point when reflection must turn into action. Marcus Aurelius reminds you, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. You cannot change what has happened. You cannot rewrite the past or hold on to moments that have already faded. But you can decide what happens next. And now, that decision is yours. Will you continue holding on, or will you choose to live? Look at where you are now. The weight you still carry, the thoughts that still pull you backward, the hesitation that keeps you rooted in yesterday. But now, ask yourself, What happens if I release this? What might be waiting for me if I finally let go? What kind of life could I create if I stopped living in what has already passed? You are at the crossroads. One path leads back toward longing, regret, resistance. The other leads forward toward presence, peace, and a life that is still unfolding. Which will you take? You do not need permission to begin again. Many people wait for something, a sign, an apology, closure, the right time, but Seneca warns, while we wait for life, life passes. Your life is happening now. You can wait for a moment that may never come, or you can decide that today, this very moment, is when you finally choose to live fully. You do not need permission to heal. You do not need someone else to grant you peace. You only need to step forward. Your future begins in this moment. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself free. Free from the weight of yesterday. Free from the regrets that once held you. Free from the need to cling to something that no longer exists. Imagine stepping into a life where the present moment is enough. Now, ask yourself, why are you waiting? Marcus Aurelius knew the answer. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. There is nothing left to argue. You know what must be done. Now step forward. Into a life that is still yours to shape. Into a moment that is waiting to be lived. Into peace. Not in the past, but in the present. Because today is yours, and it always has been. You simply had to see it. And now you do. Now you are ready. More than you think. More than you know. Because this moment is the beginning of everything, if you choose to take it. Conclusion. Begin your journey today. You have listened. You have reflected. You have felt the weight of these words settle into your mind. But wisdom means nothing if it is not lived. Marcus Aurelius did not write his meditations to be admired. He wrote them to sharpen himself, to remind himself of the discipline required to master his own mind. Now, it is your turn. If these words have sparked something within you, if you seek more than just knowledge, if you seek transformation, then subscribe to Stoic Philosophy. Because philosophy is not just something you learn, it is something you become. The journey begins now. Subscribe, reflect, apply, live, and let nothing shake you ever again, because strength, true strength, comes not from what you hold on to, but from what you are willing to release. Now step forward into the life that is waiting for you, because today is yours, and it always has been. You simply had to see it, and now you do.